Welcome to Shiny New Clients, the marketing podcast that helps you attract shiny new clients to your business. We'll talk about social media, what makes people buy, how to go viral, and marketing psychology, all in 20 minutes or less. Whether you're a coach, a stylist, or a wedding planner, if you've got a service-based business to sell, this is the show you need to fill your calendar. I'm Jenna Warriner, your new marketing coach, and this is Shiny New Clients. This is one of those episodes that I really, truly, deeply hope finds the person who needs to hear it, or maybe the person who needs to hear it is a friend of yours and you can send this to them. Because there are some service-based business owners in this world who have created a business that is so hard to grow. And that is for one very specific reason that might sound simple, but ultimately at the end of the day, isn't. But it's because they're selling something that people don't want. And how does this happen? Well, you become very good at something, you know people need something, so you create it to sell it to them. But it doesn't matter if people don't want to buy it or they don't see the value in it. Now, if this is you, stay with me. Let's talk about where to go next from here. But first, I want to add a little bit more context. The good news is nothing is impossible to sell. I think nothing is impossible to sell. You ever hear those stories of someone who starts with a safety pin and then they trade it for something bigger and trade it for something bigger until they've effectively traded that safety pin for a car? There's stories like that all the time on the internet because you can sell anything. That's like a trade, but it's the same principle. Nothing is impossible to sell. But in our businesses, wouldn't it feel better to sell something with more ease? And how we do that is we make sure people either want or need what it is that you're selling. Why would you build a business that's going to be so difficult to run? Let me give you an example. I'll change the details, but this is effectively a true example from someone who I spoke to. So they believe that vets are doing a procedure wrong. Okay, they go, every vet is doing this procedure wrong, and I know the right way to do it. So I'm going to start a business teaching vets how to do this procedure the right way. Now, not only was her approach to the right way kind of controversial, but those vets didn't want it because they were happy with the way that they were doing the procedure. The way that they're doing the procedure works for them. In fact, they'd never even questioned the way they do the procedure. So could she theoretically sell this product that teaches vets how to do it differently? Yeah, she could, except first she needs to find the vets, get the vet's attention, tell the vet that they're doing something wrong, which would then make them problem aware because right now they don't even realize they have the problem. So she has bitten off quite a lot. She's got a big mouthful that she's got to chew, because she needs to convince someone and make them problem aware. And then furthermore, make them solution aware, the solution being her service. So why go through all this work when you could, 1, 2, skip a few, create a business that gives someone something that they're already asking for. Sell something people are already asking for, because then your job is just to get in front of those people and be like, hey, choose my solution. Here's my solution. It's great. And then you kind of sell yourself and then you build your relationship with them and you give them evidence that you're good at your thing. And then they're like, great, yep, I've been looking for a solution and yours is the solution. I choose you. Digimon, I choose you. I don't even know if that's an actual Pokemon name. I never watched that show, but there you go. It definitely sounds like a Pokemon name. If you have a service right now that's not selling, I really don't want you to panic and be like, oh my God, is that why? Is this why? Do people not want it? This is just one reason that it might not be selling, but more than likely, it's either your visibility, how many eyeballs are on you, or your positioning and messaging, which is how you're talking about the thing that you sell. These are all things we work on inside Magic Marketing Machine. And there are a million different answers for the thing that you change that suddenly makes your service take off and make you millions of dollars. Okay. This is just one possible ingredient. Okay, so get this. This blew my mind when I first learned it and when I first had to do it, but it works. Okay, I've got two sides of my business. We have the agency, which is where we outright manage your social media for you. So you don't want to do it anymore. You hand it off to us. We do it for you. And then I also have my group program, Magic Marketing Machine. That's for service-based business owners who still want to run their own social media and want to get clients from the content that you post. So I'll show you how to make content fast, make awesome content, manage your account in 15 minutes a day, and create what we call posts that sell. So all of the ingredients that go into actually getting clients and how to embed that all into your content and use a proven social media marketing strategy. Okay, so that program teaches you how to do something yourself, right? So it's part of the online education industry and online program industry. And get this, in 2022, that industry was valued at $399 billion American dollars. That's how big this industry is of teaching people, teaching people how to fish. And it's only growing. It's growing actually exponentially, so freaking fast is this industry growing. And one of the big things that is taught when you go to launch an online program is to sell it before it exists, which, let me tell you, as a young social media manager creating my program and selling it before it existed, that was really scary. And it took a lot of convincing to tell me to do it. But one of the reasons why you're taught to sell the thing before it exists is to make sure there's actually a market for it. Because the saddest thing is when someone creates an entire program, makes all the videos, makes all the templates, makes all the worksheets, and then goes to sell it and nobody's biting. And that could be because you've created something that there is no market for. Again, there's a million reasons why it could be, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be impossible to sell, but it's going to be a heck of a lot harder than it could have been. So just to be clear, if you are thinking, I'll just give a little bit more of a breakdown in case you're thinking of launching a program. Essentially, the way that I did it is you map it all out, you know what you're going to teach, and then you sell it and you roll out the modules weekly. So you're creating the module based on the breakdown that you already decided on. You're creating the module as you go. So we would have a different module or a different lesson launch every week over a certain amount of time. And then you can also take feedback from the people who are taking the program, because often you'll learn oh, this is where I thought people would go with that information, but it turns out that's not what's going to help them. This is what's going to help them. And then you can pivot on a dime and bring your course around in that direction and help people way more than if you just had to guess what their experience was going to be. Also, I want to add that if you have been trying to sell something that people don't want, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you're bad at business. This happens so commonly. And often it's because you, in your expertise as a service provider or whatever, or as someone who identifies with your ideal client. So maybe you're a mom and you've made a product for other moms. You probably realize people need it. That might be how you got to where you are. You're I made this thing because people need it. And I know that this thing will help people. It's just, you're biting off more than you can chew unless you figure out a way to sell people what they want and then give them what they need, which is a whole other can of worms that we can dive into another day. I'm sorry this episode wasn't as fun and silly and storytelling as a lot of other episodes, but I really just felt that I needed to get this information out here so one person could hear it and can course correct and go create a service that you can sell and make a shit ton of money off of. If you're them and you just heard it, awesome. I'm glad we could be here together for this moment. Tap follow on whatever podcasting platform you're listening on so you don't miss next week's episode. And anyway, I'll see you then.